It started like any other morning on the Today Show. Bright lights, friendly smiles, and an easy tone. But when Prince Harry sat across from Hoda Kotb, the warmth didn't last long. What began as a polite interview quickly turned tense, and before anyone realized it, calm questions had turned into sharp words. By the end, the world would be talking about how a royal walked out of live television and so and why. The Today studio looked like morning had been poured into it. Sunlit panels, tasteful greenery, a city skyline glimmering behind glass. Hoda Kotb was already in her chair, notes neatly stacked, the kind of calm that comes from years of live television settling around her shoulders like a shawl. She smiled toward camera Guerrera too, then across the small table to her guest. "Good morning," she said, warm as a cup of coffee. "Prince Harry is with us live." "Harry, welcome." He liked the sound of that. Prince Harry, even after all the speeches about titles and freedom, he leaned back, the picture of relaxed authority in a slate jacket and an open collar shirt. "Thanks for having me, Hoda. I appreciate civilized spaces." Hoda's laugh came softly. "We try to make them." "How are you really thriving?" He said instantly. "California agrees with me. Less schedule, more agency." "Agency," Hoda repeated with a small nod. "That sounds good. What does a day look like now?" "Mine," he said with a half smile that bordered on smirk. "I choose when to speak, where to show up, which causes deserve oxygen. It's refreshing not to be a calendar entry other people clap for." Hoda took it in. "Still kind. You've been vocal about mental health, veterans issues. Those remain central. They're not hashtags I trot out," he replied, eyes flicking to the camera as if it too needed reminding. "Their work. Some people do parades. I do impact." A few audience members seated off camera nodded. Hoda did what she always did. Gave a bridge, not a wall. "Let's talk to family lightly," she said, hands open. "How's life at home?" "Excellent," Harry said. "The kids are brilliant. We make pancakes on Sundays. I've learned you don't need a crown when you can make a perfect stack." "Pancakes over crowns," Hoda smiled. "That's a headline." She flipped a card. "Megan, how is she?" "The two of you are often, in the conversation." The air shifted a hair. "She's fine," he said. The syllables clipped clean. "We're happy." People projecting unhappiness onto us is a cottage industry, not one I intend to subsidize. Hoda stayed gentle. "Fair. But you do live publicly. Documentaries, interviews, because I choose how." He cut in, still smiling, now without warmth. "There's a difference between sharing and being sold. We curate our reality. Others monetize her fantasy." A tiny pause. Hoda's experience measured the temperature and moved like a seasoned driver easing through a merge. "You've spoken beautifully about your mother, Princess Diana," she said, voice lowered with care. "I want to ask this respectfully. Does the distance from the UK, from that ecosystem, change how you carry that grief?" Harry's jaw set so faintly most would miss it. "Grief doesn't need a postal code, Hoda. And I don't carry it like a bookcase so people can peek inside on air." "I hear that," Hod said, lightly placing her palm on her notes. "I only asked because so many who loved her feel connected to your journey." "They can feel connected without interrogating it," he replied, still velvet, now edged. "Public affection doesn't entitle private inventory." Hoda nodded once, accepting the boundary. "Understood." She offered a softer topic. "You've said America feels like home. What makes it home?" "Competence," he said. Hod blinked. "Competence." He let the word hang. "People here for all the noise. Judge you less by ancestors and more by output." "It's lovely. I recommend it." She smiled through the slight sting. "There's a lot of love for you here, that's for sure." She inched forward. "Do you ever miss anything about the UK?" "Tradition ceremony. Marble echoes nicely." He said that I miss. Not the curators who decide which footsteps are acceptable. Do you see a path to reconciliation? With the institution with whom I speak is between me and them, he said, the calm now cool. I know audiences love a reunion special. I'm not a series finale. Hod's eyes stayed kind. Okay, she said, a small smile. I want to ask about purpose again. You've built platforms, books, series, charitable ventures. What's next? I'll announce. Things when they're real, not when a network needs a tease, he said. The studio's brightness felt a shade dimmer. Hoda let out a gentle chuckle, diffusing. We do love a tease. She glanced at her stack and chose a card as if it weighed nothing. A personal one, if it's okay. How do you and Megan talk to your children? About attention? About who Mom and Dad are to the world? By reminding them the world is not invited to dinner, he said, and by limiting the world's appetite. That's wise, Hoja said. Some parents watching will want to borrow that line. They can borrow the mindset, he replied. The line's mine. The audience's low murmur broke like foam and fell quiet again. Hoda felt it, the glossy surface taut as drum skin. She softened her voice further, careful as she could be. Harry, I want to phrase this gently. When we talk about Diana, her tragic death, there's a tenderness so many feel. Do you? Let's stop there, he said. The politeness now porcelain. Framing my mother's death as a talking point is unnecessary. Even when wrapped in tenderness, Hod absorbed the hit, lifted her chin a millimeter. I understand, she said, sincere. My intent is respect. Always intent is lovely, he answered. Impact is what lands. There it was. The bell you pretend you didn't hear. Hoda eased back, refusing to tense. Then let's pivot. She smiled. You use the word control often. It can be empowering. It can also be exhausting. Do you ever wish you could just not manage the narrative? I do not manage it, he said. I own it. Owners don't manage, they decide. And when people disagree with the decisions, they'll live, he said simply. So will I. The crew behind glass exchanged the kind of glances only veterans trade. Hoda set her cards down altogether. Now, hands open on the table. Harry, you're clearly passionate about drawing lines. This is your chance to draw one with your own pen. What's the question you wish interviewers would stop asking? He thought for a beat enough to suggest magnanimity. Anything that assumes I owe them access. And what do you wish they would ask? What I'm building, and he said, not what I burned. Hoda smiled again. Genuine, patient. Okay. What are you already building? A life where my family is not a buffet, he said. A culture where service isn't a costume. A version of manhood that doesn't require a balcony. That's powerful, Hoda said. Thank you. He tipped his chin as if granting it. The floor manager lifted 2 fingers. 90 seconds to break. Hoda knew audiences remember the temperature, not the transcript. She reached for one more olive branch. Last one before we pause, she said gently. When the cameras go dark and the house is quiet, what grounds you? He watched her, a glint in his eyes that might have been amusement or warning. Knowing I don't have to justify my piece to morning television, he said, pleasant as iced water. The smile stayed on Hod's face, but it was now a held note, sustained by muscle rather than mood. We'll take a quick break, she said to camera 1, still warm. When we come back, service, legacy, and what home really means. The tally light blinked off. The clatter of the crew returned like birds after thunder. Hoda exhaled slow, set her cards aside entirely, and looked at him, not as a prince, not as a headline, but as a man choosing sharp edges over bridges. Thanks for being here, she said quietly. He gave that unbothered smile again. Thanks for providing context. She nodded, turned her gaze to the skyline glass, and counted the beats to the next red light. She'd kept it gentle. He'd kept it high. And somewhere between gentleness and altitude, the storm had begun to form. The red light returned, crisp and unblinking. Hoda set aside her cards completely, palms open, as if to show there were no tricks up her sleeves, only questions and room for the answers to breathe. Welcome back, she said, voice warm and steady. We're here with Prince Harry talking about life, purpose, and the lines we draw to protect both. She turned to him with a soft smile. Harry, if you're willing, let's talk a little about the everyday. Not headlines, habits. What does a good day look like for you now? He smoothed an invisible wrinkle from his jacket. A good day is one I don't have to explain, he said. Coffee on my schedule, work that matters. No one trying to measure my life with a microphone. Hoda nodded. Do you ever miss anonymity? I never had it, he said lightly. People who ask that usually did. A few tight laughs ricocheted in the studio. Hoda let them fade. You and Megan are often described as a brand, sometimes with admiration, sometimes with criticism. Do you feel like a brand? I feel like a person who learned the cost of being a product, he replied. We invoice differently now. Invoice? Hoda echoed, almost amused. That's one way to put it. It's the honest way, he said, smiling without softness. People who never paid my bill love to judge the price. She didn't bite. You mentioned Sunday pancakes earlier. A lot of parents watching connected with that. How do you and Megan approach raising kids who will grow up visible? By making sure they're seen by us first, he said. The world is not a co-parent. It can wait outside. That's beautifully said, Hoda offered. It's functional, he corrected. Beautiful things tend to get framed. She changed lanes, gentle as a whisper. I'm going to ask this with care. You've spoken publicly about pressure, scrutiny, even fear, particular.